What's up, guys? It is March, and we have got the Sweet 16 in both the men's and women's bracket to talk about tonight. Let's go.
Can I please have your attention?
There's all a commotion around here.
What are you talking about?
Let them yap at you.
It's actually very exciting.
All right, guys, it is Brad with College SportsCast, and I've got John Hammonds here with me. We are trying to get Jason Harrison on with us. I have him in here, but so far I can't hear him.
Says he can. I can hear y'all, but can't see y'all.
Yep. I've got you in here, but I can't hear or see you.
Y'all still don't hear me?
Yeah,
Well, I heard you
I
then.
got you now. I just heard you then.
Just heard me then. I don't know what's going on. I heard that comment. You said if I came on, if I don't crank this up, you know, it'll have problems like this. I don't know why my camera not showing.
See, I told you. All right, guys, down at the bottom, this is Jason Harrison. He's been with us before. It's been a while. Jason is a former Ole Miss point guard, and Ole Miss made their second ever Sweet 16 the other day. We wanted to have him on to join us tonight. Thought it would be kind of special to have Jason on.
Howdy, tighty. How about them hogs?
I knew you'd be excited about it.
Yeah, overexcited, man. I'm still thinking about going to that game Thursday. Only thing about it, the kids are on spring break.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. All right, Jason, I can kind of hear you. You was kind of going in and out there. John, was he going in and out for you too?
I heard him just then. Are you there, Jason?
Yeah.
He's having some issues on the technical side.
Nope. Yeah, it just dropped. So, yeah, I could hear him and then I couldn't. I'm not real sure what's going on. So, we'll try to get him back. Hopefully, he can come back in. I'm not sure if he can or not. But we're going to go ahead and get started here tonight. And we appreciate you guys being with us. Hopefully, we can get Jason back on. But, John, we're going to start out with the girls and with the women's Sweet 16 tonight. And the first thing I want to talk about is what happened last night. Got to talk about Juju Watkins. She went down last night against Mississippi State in the first quarter. Unfortunately, John, she tore her ACL.
Unfortunate. You know, you play that hard and get to that point, and you get to the Sweet 16 and you're not going to get to play. It's a tough, unfortunate event. Now they do got some studs behind her, but Juju is what makes that team go. And, you know, at the end of the day, USC is going to have a tough time getting out of that region, even without Juju. And it's unfortunate, but the injuries happen, and let's hope next year that she can come back healthy from this injury and she can get it together and you know, come back stronger and you know, show out.
So, I mean, Juju's a sophomore. She's on pace with Caitlin Clark through 2 years. She has scored over 1,500 points in 2 seasons, maybe 1,600 now. She's averaged almost 24.6 points a game this year. I mean, she's a mega star, to be quite honest with you, and carried USC to a 1 seed and gets hurt in the second round game. And I mean, that's not good. I mean, it's bad.
It's unfortunate, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely unfortunate for her, but it's also unfortunate for USC.
Yeah, it's tough to lose your main piece to the puzzle, especially this late in the year. Them going to the Sweet 16, and now that you got to play without her, you got to do things a little bit different. Just a very unfortunate event. There was some heated moments in the.
I mean, they still have some good pieces.
Well, and at the end of the game last night, there was a little heated contention in the handshake line, which I felt like Mississippi State had no bearing on that injury. That was just
no. I mean, it's just a play, man. They were going down for a fast break.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just happens. A basketball play.
It's one of those things. It just happens. And it's unfortunate.
Speaking of this, I did write on Stadium Rant. We are part of Stadium Rant now. Go to stadiumrant.com. I have a new story out today, article on this injury in the game last night. They still won big. Kiki Irfan come on, scored 36 points after she went down, and carried them to a 96-59 victory over that Mississippi State team. So, I mean, they're still good. They got some pieces, but it's going to be hard to go through the gauntlet to win a title without Juju.
It is.
All right, the transfer portal opened today in the women's. Sarah Williams from Wisconsin is one of the headliners. She's a first-team Big Ten player from Wisconsin, averaged 19 points and about 9 boards a game. There's hundreds. So as of about an hour ago, on day one in the women's portal, there's over 800 players in the portal on day one.
It's absolutely insane, the amount of players that are in the portal, not just the women, but the men. It's just out of control. There's no restrictions. It's just, the wild, wild west, basically what you say. And it's going to be like this. Unfortunately, it's right in the middle of March Madness, which I think is crazy to begin with, to have the portal open during March Madness, because you even got players transferring on teams that are in the Sweet 16 and they're even still playing for something.
They are. It's wild. I mean, what's going on in college sports is wild.
I think they had an Ole Miss player, point guard, that entered the portal today on the men's side. So it's just absolutely ridiculous. And even Kentucky, the girls, they had a couple enter the portal today. Sanaa Tyler, Clara Silva, I think Becker entered too. Kenny Brooks is going to be looking at the portal now for some more pieces to add to his team, and I'm really sad about that.
As far as Kentucky, John, I think the message is pretty clear. In my opinion, it doesn't look like Kenny was too happy with the production from the bench. Mm-hmm. And I think the message is kind of clear as of right now, to be honest. I'm
really kind of disappointed that Clara Silva entered the portal. I thought she still had some growing to do with Kentucky, but sometimes you just got to make your own decisions.
I am too. I mean, I've known these girls.
I wish
Clara Silva is going. She has talent. Clara Silva is going to be a special player. I really do believe that.
She does.
All right, one other quick topic on the girls' side, and then we'll get to games. Chavez is her last name. She was the #1 recruit in the land, and she completely surprised everybody today, including Oklahoma. She had a press conference, and she announced that she is committed to Oklahoma. As the #1 over USC, over South Carolina, over UConn. Big get for Coach Jenny at Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's a change. I we see all these big programs like USC, UConn, even Baylor
South
has gotten
Carolina.
big. South Carolina. It's different to see a kid go to a different school and kind of pave their own way. And now that Fudd's returning to UConn, they're going to be really, really good next year. Now they do lose Paige Beckers, which is going to be
But Fudd coming back for UConn is huge. She could have went to the W.
Is going to be a big plus for them. Yep.
Yeah, she could have went to the W. She announced today that she is coming back to UConn next year, so that is huge for them. Just a couple of things that I wanted to get to real quick on the women's side of things. And now, John, we're going to dig into the women's bracket. We're going to start in Birmingham. There are 2 regions in Birmingham. We're going to start in Birmingham. There is a rival matching up in the first game here that we're going to talk about. Number 3, North Carolina versus number 2, Duke. And they have played twice this year. I think they split.
I like Duke here. I like what Carol Lawson is doing with that team. North Carolina is playing really, really well right now. But I just like the experience of Duke to win this game. Carol Lawson has done a really good job at Duke. She's brought in some really good talent from the portal. She's brought in some really good recruits. She's not missed a beat. I expect Duke, to me, to go with the Elite Eight and play for a chance to go to the Final Four.
I mean, this North Carolina team is tough as nails as well. They have, they have some really good players. GameDay is a really, really good player, defensive player and offensive player, down low for them. But I agree with you. Duke has played really well. Duke won the ACC championship, the conference tournament championship, to get that 2 seed. Because I'm not so sure if they don't do that they're not a 3 seed in this tournament. But because they ran the table and got the conference championship, they got the 2 seed. And Carol Lawson's been, she's put together. They've got some young talent on this team and some veterans on this team.
They do.
So I'm going to go Duke here as well in this first game in Birmingham 2. All right. The second game in Birmingham 2 is number 4 Maryland versus number 1 South Carolina. Maryland's played pretty good down the stretch here.
They have,
and they won a 3 overtime game the other night versus Alabama.
Barker had a really big game for Alabama. She laid it all on the line in her last game. But I just think South Carolina is just too much here. I think Maryland will push them a little bit. Maryland's got a really good team. But I just think, Powell, what's the big girl in the middle's name? I can't remember. Fagan. I just think too much of them is just going to be too much to handle, and I think they'll get to the Elite Eight.
You got Chloe Kitts.
Chloe Kitts is really, really good.
Down low as well for them. She's been a star down low for them as well. She was the MVP of the SEC tournament. Chloe Kitts was, but here's the deal, John. South Carolina kind of struggled the other night offensively versus Indiana. They were behind. They were behind at halftime.
That was kind of surprising to me. Indiana was up
65 points. They only had 25 at halftime.
Yeah, they didn't play their best game, but Dawn Staley, she's going to figure it out, and she's going to get them ready, prepared for the Sweet 16. She knows how to coach. I'm just excited about this girls' tournament as much as I am the men's. There's a lot of really great talent in this girls' tournament, and I think
there is, and the viewers are showing up. They're averaging almost a million viewers per game.
They are,
and the viewers are showing up for these. So I cannot go against Dawn Staley here. I've got to go with the proven winner. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Maryland doesn't have a good team. They do, and had a great year. I just think this is where the road ends for them here in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, Birmingham 3 is where we're going to go next. And the first game we're going to talk about is a very, very good and interesting matchup. You got number 3 Notre Dame, 3 seed, versus 2 seed TCU. The guard play in this is going to be something special.
Haley Van Lith against that really good Notre Dame Hidalgo backcourt. I like Notre Dame in this game. But I will say,
Olivia Miles and Hannah Hidalgo.
Notre Dame is probably going to be my pick here, but I wouldn't be surprised if TCU gave them a game and it come down to a couple possessions. Haley Van Lith is playing at an elite level right now. I think with her and the other girls in the backcourt for TCU, they'll give Notre Dame some fits, but I think Notre Dame, when it's said and done, they'll take care of business and they'll get to the Elite Eight.
And played really well for TCU. And that's the one thing that Notre Dame kind of misses. They don't have that big girl down low.
Mm-mm. But I think, Notre Dame's backcourt, I think they make a difference in this game, the Notre Dame backcourt.
This one's tough, John. Part of me wants to pick Haley Van Lith in this game. But I'm going to be honest with you. When I filled out my brackets, I had this game and I picked Notre Dame. I'm going to stick with that and go Hannah Hidalgo, Olivia Miles, Citron. They are loaded with talent.
I think that's where I'm going in my direction as well. I just think.
But I'm going to be honest with you. Haley Van Lith could surprise here and pull off the ultimate upset.
They could.
I think this is one of the more tough games to pick. It is a 2 versus 3. It really should be one of the more tough games to pick. But I'm going to take the Fighting Irish.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm going.
All right, the next one we're going to get to, John, is Birmingham 3 as well. This is 2 SEC teams matching up again. You got number 5 Tennessee versus number 1 seed Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And they have played this year. Texas got the better of them in that matchup, but it was close.
It was. I like Texas here. I think their defense will play a big part in this game. Tennessee, to me, sometimes goes through lulls where they don't score. They're kind of off and on. You don't really know which Tennessee team you're going to get. Cooper, she's going to have to lead them in this game if they're going to have any shot to win this game. Madison Booker, that whole front four that, the backcourt, front court of Texas is really, really good. They can just put the brakes on you defensively. They can shut your water off really quick on defense. But the main thing with Texas that I've noticed in certain games is they tendency have where they don't score, where they can't score at times. And, now this game they might not have that problem, but as they get farther along in the tournament, they're going to go up against a team that can score, and that's when, they're going to have to really put it together for 4 quarters.
Well, to be fair, Tennessee can score. They're one of the highest octane offenses in women's college basketball this year.
But which Tennessee team are you going to get, though? That's the main question. Are you going to get the Tennessee team that's playing right now, are you going to get the Tennessee team that played the last, 3-4 games at the end of the year where they just didn't?
Well, they looked good in the second round game. But before that, I don't think they really hadn't been playing well, but they have a lot of talent there. I mean, Jules Spears, I mean, they have a lot of talent there. And the point guard matchup in this game is going to be fantastic as well, just like TCU
Roy Harmon
and Birmingham.
Roy Harmon's going to be – she's the real deal, Rory is.
Well, and Tennessee's got, that point guard matchup is going to be fantastic. And whoever wins that point guard matchup is probably going to win this game. I think Madison Booker is the best player in the game. I really do. My problem with Texas is Texas struggles to score sometimes. Mm-hmm. Now, they play great defense, so they don't need to score 70 or 80 points most of the time. But this Tennessee team, even against good defense, is capable of putting up 75 points. If they do that, it's going to be tough on this Texas team because they struggle scoring the ball. I've seen them play about 3 times. I'm going to take the Longhorns here in this game and not go against Vic Schaefer. You got Kim Caldwell in her first Sweet 16 game here. She's done a fantastic job. She's got the Volunteers back to the Sweet 16. But gosh, Vic has got knocked out in the Elite Eight last year. He has built this team for a chance at a title. I'm going to have to take the Longhorns here in this one you got Taylor down low. You got Holly outside that can shoot a 3. I mean, this is a really good, well-rounded Texas team. So I'm going to go with the Longhorns. All right, the next region we're going to go to is Spokane. We're going to Spokane, Washington. The first one we're going to do is Spokane 1. And the first matchup we're going to talk about is another very interesting matchup. Number 3, LSU versus number 2, NC State.
Man, this NC State team is playing lights out right now. LSU is playing really, really well too. I can't go against Kim Mulkey in the tournament.
It's hard, man. LSU has played so well these first 2 games.
Yeah, and she's a legend, one of the best coaching jobs in the country where she's at in LSU.
What, 3 titles?
3 titles at Baylor too. So
yeah.
For me, it's just hard to go against Kim Mulkey and what she does as a coach. She's a wonderful
I'm going to be honest with you, John. Wes Moore's done an excellent damn job too at NC State.
He has. And I wouldn't suggest that this is going to be an easy game for LSU. NC State's going to play really, really hard.
They got some really good guard play on this NC State team.
Their guard play is outstanding. But like I said, I'm probably going to go Mulkey here. Flau'jae Johnson, Morrow. It's hard to pick against the LSU Tigers, man.
It is. Michaela Williams, you got Smith, you got Glastier Poa. There's just so many players on this LSU team. Now, NC State's got great guard play, man. They are great. And, they can fill it up. They might have 2 players that can score 30 points. But this LSU team, if they play that high-octane, fast game here, that I think this game will probably be, because NC State likes to play that way too, LSU's capable of putting up 100.
Yep.
They have that kind of offense.
They can score.
I'm with you, man. I cannot go against Kim Mulkey here in the tournament. after the game the other day, she was asked about, getting to the Sweet 16, and she flat said it she said, this is not like we expect more. Sweet 16 is not where we think we should be. We are destined for more. She said 2 years ago, nobody thought Angel Reese and Flage and them was going to win the title, and they did. Now Flage is going for a second one in her junior year. So I'm going to take the LSU Tigers in this one. The next one, this is number 5 Ole Miss. Kind of a surprise here, I think, in the Sweet 16. I thought Tennessee kind of was too, but Ole Miss, I think, is kind of a surprise. They had struggled a little bit throughout the year, but have the pieces to be a good team. They're going against the number 1 overall seed in the tournament, UCLA.
Yeah, it's, UCLA with Lauren Betts. They're just
Kiki Rice.
Yeah, they're just a really tough matchup, and Ole Miss, they done a lot to get here. They beat a good Baylor team. Madison Scott, Coach O, they play good D.
I'm telling you,
this is a really good Ole Miss team. This is a really good Ole Miss team that, unfortunately, that they're running into one of the better teams in the country. And if they was in any other bracket, I probably would pick them. But this is just tough for them in a game against probably a title contender. Let's just be honest. They're one of the top title contenders to cut the nets down in Tampa. So I think I'm going to go UCLA here. But what Coach O has done with this group and how she just continues to be consistent in coaching, heck of a coach down there at Ole Miss.
She is, and she's done a great job getting them into the Sweet 16 here. But, man, you just can't go against this UCLA team. The only team, they've lost 2 games. The only team that's beat them the entire year is USC and Juju. And Juju's not around right now because she just got hurt last night. So, I mean, and they played South Carolina and beat them by double digits early in the year. I mean, they have played some teams. It's just really hard to go against Lauren Betts and Kiki Rice here. They have such a great team. Like you said, they are a title contender. So I'm going to take UCLA in this one as well. All right, Spokane 4, another 3-2. This one's really interesting as well. All these 3-2 games are. Number 3, Oklahoma versus number 2, UConn. Oklahoma, Coach Jenny is doing an absolute fantastic job.
Reagan Beers in the middle, but it's hard to pick against UConn, especially with their history in the tournament. Paige Buchers, Fudge, Gino Ariema, like they're the kings of the dance. The last decade they've been there. They know how to win. They know how to win tight games. But I expect this game to be really tight. I expect Paige Buchers to do her thing. She's really, really good. I call her Paige Buckets. She can get buckets in a hurry. This guard matchup with Oklahoma could be probably very fascinating. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to go with
Van Hurst. I mean, I'm telling you, man, this Oklahoma team is tough. We played them twice, and I say we as in Kentucky, and I was there for both games.
It's hard to go against Gino. I think I'm going to have him going to the elite yet again. He just knows how to win when the marbles are against the wall.
John, in my brackets, I picked UConn, okay? There was a part of me that said Oklahoma could do it. Oklahoma has played so well. They have won like 12 of their last 13 games.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if they won this game either, though.
Like, they have played so well down the stretch. She has this team playing so Strong, and together, man, getting that number one recruit today has got to hype them up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've got to be just on cloud nine, ready to go. And let's be honest, they're in the same bracket here with Juju and USC. This field's kind of open.
Yeah, it is now.
This feels more open today than it did yesterday.
Yep, it is.
Oklahoma could have a chance if they could get by Gino and Sarah Strong and Fudd and Beckers.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have a chance here. There is a part of me, I think I'm going to go against my own picks, and I think I'm going to take the Sooners in this game, which
that's tough to do against Gino.
It is. It is, man. It's tough, man. I'm not even going to lie. It's tough. But they're playing so well.
Yeah.
All right. In the next game, number 5, Kansas State, who beat Kentucky, by the way, in a 1-point overtime game, is going against number 1 USC. Number 1 USC is going to be playing for the first time without Juju Watkins.
Yesterday afternoon, you probably think, well, you know what? Kansas State don't have much of a chance in this game. Well, Juju goes down, and now it kind of changes the dynamics of things because Juju is a lot to that USC team.
Ayoka Lee is back for Kansas State. She had been out for about 6 weeks, and she's playing really well, the 6'6" girl down low.
Sundale, this whole group.
I'm telling you, I was there. They have shooters. They can light it up. Poindexter was 8 of 10 after the first quarter.
They can put it all over the floor. Lee in the middle.
From three-point land.
Lee, the in and out game with Lee and Sundale and Poindexter and Glenn. They have all kinds of shooters all over the floor. But it's hard.
Going to be a tough matchup without Juju now, I'm telling you.
It is.
With Juju, I was all on board to say USC.
But I think I'm still going to go USC. They still got some pieces there that still behind Juju are still really good. They took care of Mississippi State last night, even without Juju. But getting to the Final Four is going to be tough because UConn or Oklahoma is going to present a very big challenge.
Gosh, John, this one's tough too now. I think I'm still going to go with Kiki Irfan and USC. They had the number 1 recruiting class. One of their, I think Hal is her name, was part of that number 1 recruiting class, and she stepped up last night after Juju went down. I think she had 18 points off the bench. They're still really, really talented. Van Olfenhoffen or whatever her name is from Morgan State is there, shooting guard. I mean, they are still loaded.
They are.
As much as I think Kansas State could knock them off with Juju out, because they are so tough, man. If they shoot like they did against us, I think USC loses.
Yeah, I do as well. But
my problem is I think it's going to be hard to match what they did against us.
No, it's going to be tough. Yeah.
So I'm going to take Kiki Irfan and USC to win this one. Now, John, quickly, that means you got UConn and USC. Who's going to go to the Final Four here?
UConn. I think Gino.
I had Oklahoma, so I'm going to take the surprise here out of this region and take Oklahoma now that Juju got hurt. All right, UCLA, LSU. Who makes the Final Four?
I think UCLA gets it done. I just think Betts in the middle and their guard play with Rice, I think they'll just be too much for LSU. But I wouldn't put it against Kim Mulkey to get them back to the Final Four. That's going to be a tough game too.
I'm going to take UCLA, but man, LSU could do it. Mulkey could get it done.
She can.
All right, Texas, Notre Dame. Who makes the Final Four?
Gotta go Notre Dame. They can score. Texas has a hard time scoring, and Notre Dame can score in bunches. I think they put up 100. What was it? Day before yesterday, maybe the first round.
Yeah.
Hidalgo, that backcourt, they can just do so many things in the backcourt.
They actually beat Texas early in the year.
I will say, Texas has a really good defense. And can they slow them down a little bit? But Texas is going to have to put the ball.
They did play early in the season, and Notre Dame beat them. It was on their home floor, but they beat them.
They're going to have to put the ball in the hoop if they want to beat Notre Dame. But
I took Notre Dame in my bracket here, so I'm going to take Notre Dame. All right, the last one, Birmingham 2 is South Carolina and Duke, and these two teams played early this year too.
I just think Dawn Staley is one of the best coaches in the country. She knows how to get them motivated, and I think she'll get them back to the Final Four.
I got South Carolina as well, but I wanted to run through there. So we have picked the women's down to the Final Four. Next week, we will move on and greatly break down the Final Four, and we will discuss who we think gets to the championship game, and then we'll discuss the championship game next week on the show.
Next week, yep.
Absolutely. All right, John. We are going to switch things up, and we are going to go to the men's bracket. And the first one I got on slate is these games are played Thursday. So I've got them first. I've got the East region, and the first games of the day is number 6 BYU versus number 2 seed Alabama.
Man, Richie Saunders has been one of the stars of the tournament, right?
I sure wish we had him. That's all I know.
BYU is fun to watch. They have no fear, but they're very high scoring. But I think this is the end of the line for them. Alabama is just really, really good. The thing about Alabama is they're really prone to defensive moments where they don't play good defense that could send them packing in some of these games, especially against a team like BYU. But they found a way to win the first two. Mark Sears and Grant Nelson's going to have to be.
Is Nelson healthy? Is he playing? Is he back playing healthy?
Yeah, but I think he played 7 minutes against St. Mary or 7 minutes against Robert Morris, and then he played quite a bit more against St. Mary's. But I think I'm going to take Alabama to get to the Elite Eight. I just think their offense is a little bit better than BYU's. But what a run for BYU, man. Richie Saunders he's been a star of the tournament.
This game's really interesting. You got two great offenses. I mean, one that averages 91 and one that's 81, I think.
Yeah,
something like that.
It's going to be action packed, up and down.
This game is going to be like it wouldn't surprise me if it's like 98 to 92 or something.
Yeah, it's going to be tight when it comes to offenses and the way they run up and down the floor, the way they're high level scoring. It's going to be a fun game.
Shooting, Alabama, young blood, that dude can shoot the ball, man. Just
5 on's good too for Alabama.
Yeah, golly, they have so many good players.
Well, and what they do, they just throw bench guys at you. Like you got 5 guys, and then they throw 2 or 3 off the bench. That's just, I think that's where a difference.
BYU has played so well late in this year, and I'm not talking about just in the tournament. You go back to about the end of January, man, they have come on and played so well down the stretch of this season. only losing to a few teams. Houston beat them. I mean, and which is not a bad loss. So I mean, I'm gonna take Bama, but man, this is a game that kind of scares you. It wouldn't surprise me if this comes down to the last 30 seconds of this game. All right, the second game in the East bracket is number 4 seed Arizona versus number 1 seed Duke. You're muted.
I'll say this. If Duke continues to play at this level and you continue the hot shooting of Tyrese Proctor, and then you got to contend with Cooper Flagg, it's hard to not envision Duke going to the Final Four. This is a really good Duke team, and they're not just good offensively; they're really good on the defensive end too. Con Kunippel is a really good shooter as well. For Duke, they have so many guys they can throw in and out at you defensively, and then you add in the fact that Cooper Flagg is just doing some amazing things. I got Duke in this game, but it's not going to be easy.
Duke as well. So you think this is where the road ends for Caleb Love?
I do, but I think Caleb Love will do his thing though. But Duke's going to cause a lot of matchup problems across Arizona.
I mean, guys, I got to give Tommy Floyd some credit here, man. I mean, he year in and year out, and filling in after Sean Miller was fired and everything, and what he's done and carried on at Arizona over the last 5 years or whatever it is now that he's been there is truly amazing. Because I mean, Tommy Lloyd hadn't ever been a head coach before, had he?
Not that I know of, no.
Yeah.
He was Mark Few disciple.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. He was his assistant forever. So that's why I say I don't think he was ever a head coach before. And for him to come in there and to carry on
it's like to take on, yeah.
The Arizona tradition. Let's be honest. I mean, since the 90s with Lou Olson, I mean, they've been really good. And to carry on that tradition has been fantastic. However,
well, you run down the list, Miles Bibby, Richard Jefferson, Arenas. There's been some really great
Damon
players.
Stoudemire. I can go all the way back to like Damon Stoudemire.
Khalid Reeves when he played.
Yeah.
You had some really good players. Jason Gardner, Luke Walton. Bill Walton's son played for them at one point.
Yeah.
Like they've had some really good players come through there.
They have, absolutely. And to carry it on, Tommy Lloyd's done a fantastic job out there. I don't think he gets nearly enough credit for the work that he does in Arizona. I don't know if that's a West Coast thing or what, but I just want to give him some pub here. Since we're talking about this game. However, I agree with you. I think Duke is one of the better teams. My problem with Duke is they rely on a lot of freshmen outside of Proctor.
They do.
And at some point here, a lot of these teams, most of these teams outside of Duke are loaded with experience.
Veterans, yeah.
And veterans. Is that going to pick them off at some point? So I'm going to go Duke as well. All right. On Thursday night, West bracket, we got number 4 Maryland versus 1 seed Florida. Maryland's been playing really well, John. Kevin Willard. I got to give him some credit, man.
I'm going to say this about Florida. They had that tough game against, UConn. They left it all out there. Walker Clayton hitting some big shots. Will Richard, Elijah Martin. I think they're the best team in San Francisco right now. They match up pretty much with probably every team in this region.
Robert?
But on the other side of things with Maryland, you got a Maryland team that's got a fantastic freshman in Derek Queen. He hit the game-winning shot to beat Colorado State. They don't have a big bench. And does that become a factor against a team like Florida? If they could win this,
because Florida's they might be the deepest team in the country.
they are, and I got them actually winning it all in one of my brackets. Them and Auburn. I got a couple brackets actually, but if Maryland can get past this game, there's a good chance they could get to the Final Four with who's going over on the other side. And what a job, like you said, Kevin Willard's done. He's done a really good job with.
I played high school against Kevin Willard. Kevin Willard led the Bowling Green Purples, and if I'm not mistaken, one of the years he was there, I'm pretty sure they won the state when he was there. One of the years, he was in my class. I don't think it was our senior year. I don't think. But they made the state tournament like 3 straight years. I'm almost positive out of our region. And Kevin Willard was the point guard. He was tough as nails. He could shoot the ball. And he distributed to a lot of good teammates, and was a heck of a player. Went to Pittsburgh, played for his dad, and coached at Seton Hall, done a good job at Seton Hall. And, man, in 2 years to have Maryland back in the Sweet 16, he's done a heck of a job here, man.
There's a lot about him as a man and character.
I'm telling you, he's a good coach, man. Knows a lot about basketball. Of course, his dad was a coach, Ralph Willard. And Kevin's done a fantastic job. Having said all that, just like I did about Arizona, man, this Florida team is lights out, and they have so many bigs off the bench that they can come in and play 7-footers. I mean, hell, if they wanted to, they could go 7'9". They have a 7'6" guy or 7'5". I mean, they have the size that's unfathomable, really. They have a freshman that's sitting over there that's 7'9".
Alex Condon's their big man in the mid. They just got so many weapons they can throw at you.
And that's not counting their guard play that's maybe the best in the country. It rivals the best in the country, at least at that. I got to go the Florida Gators here. I'm with you on this. I actually have them in one of my brackets as well as the champion. And so I'm going the Florida Gators. All right, John, we get to talk about your favorite guy. John Calipari made the Sweet 16 with Arkansas. The 10 seed plays number 3, Texas Tech.
You know, in a game
John,
of this magnitude,
let me start by saying this: Adu Thiero is expected to play.
They said he's only going to play probably 12 minutes. He's not going to play a lot, but
I know that's what they said, but we'll see. My bet is he plays between 15 and 20. That's what I bet.
The thing is, you never underestimate Calipari in this situation. They're a 10 seed. You know, they knocked off St. John's. You know, they squeaked into the field. They got enough wins to get in the field. If for instance they get by Texas Tech, they got to meet a rematch possibly with Florida, a team that they lost to, back in, was it early January? That was a tight game in Arkansas. But I think I'm going to go Texas Tech here, even though I think, you know, the Red Raiders are beat up right now. You know, they're the only team in the tournament that has a win against Houston. And McCasman, what he's done at Texas
Steven
Tech.
Decker says I got Arkansas on this one.
And what McCasman has done at Texas Tech is absolutely amazing. He's turned that program around, done some incredible things. I'm going to go Arkansas. I'm going to go Texas Tech here. I think this is where the luck runs out for the Arkansas Razorbacks.
All right. So Robert Rhodes says Texas Tech. All right. I got two points that I want to make on this. who is this Calipari guy that is getting more healthy as March goes along? Who is this guy? Because the last few years, that has absolutely not been the case at Kentucky. It seems like every time we turned around, we were losing somebody. He's down there getting guys back. Boogie Flan miraculously comes back right before the tournament. Now Adu Thiero is coming back before the Sweet 16. I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. You know, he sure didn't do that with us the last few years. I can tell you that. And when a guy was out, they were just out. They wasn't returning. Like, there was no returning. I don't know who this guy is that's playing these dudes, because when he was at Kentucky, he was like, no, your draft stock is way too important. It's way too important. You just set this one out. We got it.
We have a breaking news at this hour. Just now, just reported. Xavier is fixing to hire Richard Pitino as its next head coach. He goes to Villanova? Xavier. No, he went to Xavier.
Huh. I had heard he was going to Villanova.
John Rothstein just posted it. Well, Donovan Dent.
And then my second point.
Good luck at X. That's probably where he's ended up going now.
All right. So my second point on this game, Texas Tech, man, Jacob, or I want to call him Jacob every time. JT Toppin is a beast, y'all.
He is
an absolute beast. God, he tore up Iowa State the other day. I mean, that's who it was, wasn't it? That they played? Now that I said that, I'm not sure that's who they played.
Who are you talking about? Texas Tech played
Texas Tech.
Who did they play? Played UNC Wilmington to start, and then they played I've lost train of thought.
I was thinking it was Iowa State, but it may not be.
No, Iowa State. That was Ole Miss.
It was Ole Miss? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that is Jacob Toppin's brother, younger brother, and Obi Toppin's younger brother. And I'm going to tell you guys, watching him play a few times, I think he's as good as Obi.
Drake.
He's way better than Jacob.
They beat Drake.
Yep. He is way better than Jacob. It's not even close. He could run circles around Jacob. He's more like Obi than he is. Like, Obi was a really good player, and this kid is too. Transferred from New Mexico. He is fantastic. I think he's going to be a problem for Arkansas. I really do. This Texas Tech team has played really well down the stretch outside of BYU and Houston out of the Big 12. They have played really, really well, including beating Arizona on the road, I think. I'm going to take the Red Raiders here in this game. And I know I've been going against Arkansas. You can take that for what you want. I just don't – listen, Arkansas has the talent here, and honestly, they could win this game.
Yep.
I'm just going to be honest. They have been playing well. Seems like Cal is actually trying here. He is putting together, like I said, they're getting more healthy. Their talent, they're getting deeper. When's the last time Kentucky was getting deeper? When March came? I mean, I don't know, 2017 maybe? I don't know. Like, it's been a long time. So Arkansas definitely could win this game. But I'm taking the Red Raiders. I think they have played well down the stretch, so I'm going to take them. All right, we're moving to the South region. This is on Friday night. The first game in the South region on Friday night is number 6 Ole Miss versus Michigan State as the 2 seed.
Ole Miss, they've been impressive here in March. They faced really a shorthanded Iowa State team. Let's be real here. And then they beat North Carolina. If they get by Michigan State, they're going to play an Auburn team, most likely, that has beaten them already 3 times. And
that's tough.
Would it be a 4th? And then you got on the other side, you got Michigan State. Tom Izzo, you can't go without him. He's got a lot of depth on this team. They're going to face
16 Sweet 16s, by the way. This is number 16 Sweet 16s for Tom Izzo.
They're either going to face their rival Michigan or they're going to face Auburn. So take your pick. There's some really intriguing matchups here. But I'm going to take Michigan State in this game. I just think they're the better team. I think they got the better defense. I think they can shoot a little bit better than Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss is shooting, 60%?
They've been shooting well the last couple of games.
So can they keep it up? That's the question. So,
yeah,
which is going to be a home game in Atlanta. There's going to be the Jungle's probably going to be there. Auburn's going to be – there's going to be a lot of Auburn fans there. So, I expect this is going to be an Auburn invitational more or less when it comes to fans. Give me Michigan State when it settles down to this game.
Y'all know I have said it here on the show. If you followed us, you know that I'm a closet Michigan State fan. I've always said that Magic Johnson is my absolute favorite player of all time. I grew up in the Magic Johnson era. He won a title with Michigan State in '79. I've said this all along on this show, if I had to pick a second team, I would pick Michigan State. Now, having said all that, I do like Tom Izzo, and you got to give him his flowers, man. 16 Sweet 16s over his tenure. Been there since about 99 or 2000, somewhere there. Won the 2000 title with Michigan State. A heck of a coach. I mean, just a heck of a coach. Been to several Final Fours. I don't know exactly how many, but 5, 6, 7, I don't know, several of them. But you got to look at the job that Chris Beard has done, man. We were going to have Jason on with us tonight, Harrison. It was going to be kind of fun to talk about this game a little bit with Jason, but he couldn't get his mic and camera working tonight when he tried to be on with us here. This is only the second ever Sweet 16 for the Ole Miss Rebels. I want y'all to hear me, man. This is the job that Chris Beard has done. This is only the second time ever. The only other time that they made the Sweet 16 was in 2002 with Jason Harrison as the point guard. That's the reason why I wanted to have Jason Harrison on with us tonight, because he is the only point guard before now that has ever gotten Ole Miss to the Sweet 16. Great job by Chris Beard. I have said since they hired him, this is only his second year, that he is a great hire, that he's going to do great things there. My only question is will he stay there? Now, a lot of these coaching hires have been filled, so we'll see, but will he stay there? I hope he does, because the SEC is where it's at. I mean, if you want to be, I think that's where it's at. And Big Ten would be the only other one, really, but I think the SEC is where it's at. Having said all that, I'm not going to go against Jace Richardson and Tom Izzo in my picks here. I'm going to go with the Spartans to win this one. And then you got number 5, Michigan against number 1, Auburn in this region. And like you said, it's in Atlanta.
Put Michigan in Auburn's backyard.
Yeah.
Michigan is playing really well right now. You got Danny Wolf playing really good. Golden, Trey Donaldson.
Man, Dusty May, you talking about a coach, man. What he did at FAU and then take 4 players with him and now has Michigan back here. Michigan's been terrible.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go Auburn in this one. I just think they get to the Elite Eight and they take care of business against Michigan.
Yeah, I hate to be real short on this one, but I'm going to take Auburn in Atlanta. This is what, in 2 hours from their home.
It's not very far.
Something like that. Listen, Michigan's done a fantastic job, and I'm going to be honest with you. With the job that Dusty May has done in this tournament the last now 3 years, would I be shocked if he takes out the number 1 team here, number 1 seed?
Probably not.
I wouldn't be. I would not be shocked if he figures out a way to take them out. Now, having said that, man, I've been high on this Auburn team since November. Even though they played and done some of the things that they did against Kentucky afterwards that I had a problem with, this team is so good, man. I mean,
they can score, they can play defense.
They inside out shooting. I mean, man, this team just has it. And I got to go Auburn Tigers. All right, John, we're going to the Midwest, and the first game on Friday night is the game of the century for us.
Well, and the Volunteers, I feel like
I can't believe you didn't think that was funny.
It was. They've improved their shooting. I think here in the postseason, they got to the SEC championship. Their biggest thing is they're 0-2 against Kentucky, right? Their defense gives them a chance. A lot's going to depend on the play of Ziegler, also Chaz Lanier if he's hot, and then you got Kentucky. They swept the Volunteers. I think bringing Lamont Butler back has really been a big plus for this team. The offense operates a lot more smoothly, I think, when they have him in the lineup. You saw that
Travis
against
Perry
Illinois.
did not play against Illinois. Will he play against Tennessee Friday night?
He said to be ready, Pope. So I don't know. It just all depends. I wouldn't at this point. I'd roll with what you got there with Colin Chandler and Ansley Almanor and the guys that have got you there. Don't kind of screw up with the rotation. But I got Kentucky in this game. I think they're going to get it done for the 3rd time, and I think they're going to go to the Elite Eight in Mark Pope's first season.
Listen, this is the matchup. When I saw the bracket, this is the matchup I wanted. And I'm just going to be honest. I know Tennessee fans are going to have all kinds of heyday over that one. I know they are. By me saying that, I know they will. But here's the deal, guys. We have beat Tennessee 3 straight times in Knoxville. We have also beat Tennessee 3 straight times, including 2 this year. I just when I looked at this bracket, there was some games. I mean, I'll be honest with you. The Illinois game scared me a little bit. There were some games. I'm really not scared of this Tennessee team. Now, having said that, they're a good team, and they're a great defensive team. So Kentucky has to play well and shoot well.
Yeah. We're getting overtime here.
They are. We are, but it's okay. So Kentucky and Tennessee here. Matt, y'all know I'm not taking the Tennessee Vols. So I've got to take Kentucky. I feel confident in that pick, to be quite honest with you. We've beaten them enough over the last 3 years with Zakai Ziegler that I feel pretty confident in that pick. All right. The last game in the Midwest is number 4 Purdue versus number 1 Houston. John, Houston took care of Gonzaga.
Yeah. Houston has probably one of the best defenses in the country, probably in the field. They're going to have to be locked in, I think, during this tournament or during this region, because you're probably going to have a road game, basically. Purdue's going to have their fans. Kentucky's going to have their fans. This team
is played in Indy, so Purdue's going to fill this joint up.
This team has enough offense to sustain itself. But how are they going to fare if they have to play against 2 back-to-back, Kentucky, Purdue road games? It's going to be a tough John Rothstein brought up a good point today about Houston, the geography where they're at. Like, they're put in a tough little region here, especially even with Tennessee as well. But on the other side, you got Purdue. They've had to do a lot of things different now with Edey gone. There's a lot of times where they go really cold from 3. They turn the ball over sometimes.
Braden Smith can't have 6 turnovers again.
Not against Houston, no. But I'm going Houston here. I think Houston gets it done. I think they're the better team. LJ Cryer, Roberts, this whole Houston team can flat score. And if you get a lead on them, or if they get a lead on you, their defense has enough to keep the lead at bay. And I think that's where Purdue's season ends, is right here in Indianapolis in front of their home crowd.
I say the same thing. I mean, Purdue does have 3 guards. Like, they have great guard play. Braden Smith's been excellent, but he was sloppy the other night.
He was.
And they got lucky to still be ahead and still win this game when Braden Smith wasn't playing well.
You won't get that lucky against Houston.
Yeah. So I'm going to take the Cougars here in this game, even though this is in Indy, and Purdue will probably have the home crowd here.
Yep.
All right, quickly, we got Houston and Kentucky in the Midwest.
I don't want to pick against my Cats, but I think this is where they end. I just think Houston just has too much. I like to be wrong. Hopefully I am wrong, but
that's the thing with me. I'm not one of these Kentucky fans that I would rather pick with my head and hope with my heart.
Let's just hope that, the de facto home game would play a big dividend in this kind of game, having the crowd behind you, which it will be. But you're going to have to hit some shots against Houston, and they're going to probably push Kentucky off the 3-point line too.
I'm going to take Houston in this one, even though my heart says Kentucky. But I'm going to take Houston to get the Final Four.
Yeah,
South region, we got Auburn and Michigan State.
I got Auburn. I think Auburn's good offensively. Defensively, I just think Janai Broome and Tahab Pettiford and Miles Kelly, that whole team's just going to show out in Atlanta, and I think they get Bruce Pearl back to the Final Four.
I got Auburn as well. West region is going to be Texas Tech or Arkansas if they do win, which they could. But Texas Tech or Arkansas versus most likely Florida.
I got Florida. I think we're going to have a all-SEC semifinal next weekend. With the following weekend with Arkansas or with Florida and Auburn. And if you remember, Florida beat Auburn in Auburn.
They did.
And Auburn will look to have some payback in that game.
Yeah, you're right. I got Florida as well. I think Florida is quite possibly the best team in the country. I love their bigs and their guards. And then we're
got
going to go to the East,
Duke.
John. We got Duke and Alabama, which is going to be a hell of a matchup, man. You got experience versus freshman.
I'm going to go Duke. I think the fact that Duke's defense, they have a little bit more defense than Alabama, but they don't have as good of an offense as Alabama. But I think the defense will create stops against this Mark Sears, Phylon, Youngblood, Grant Nelson. I mean, that's a lot to tangle up with, but I think Duke gets it done, and I think they get back to the Final Four. But I'm going to say this before we log off. There's a chance. I'm not saying that it's right on the edge of happening or anything, but there's a chance we could have an all-SEC Final Four.
There is. If
because
Kentucky
Bama,
or if
Tennessee,
Kentucky or Tennessee goes, yeah.
Alabama, Florida, Auburn, we could have an all-SEC final.
We could.
Could you imagine people hearing the media yap about how the SEC, they're being thrown in their face? I can just imagine right now to hear everything.
Listen, even if there isn't an all SEC final, somebody will say that the SEC is overrated. What do you want to bet? $100 says somebody says the SEC is overrated. All right, in this one, Duke, Alabama. I'll be honest with you, John. I'm going Alabama. I'm going experience here. They made the Final Four last year. They come back for a chance at a championship. With Sears and Grant Nelson, and they got the experience. I'm going experience. I'm going to go Alabama here. I think they have the talent.
But I do think Duke has a better defense than Alabama does. And I think that's going to –
Phylon and Youngblood, and I'm telling you, man, they just have the talent to do it, I think. I really do.
They do offensively, yes. But Alabama's problem is their defense goes in lapses at times, and you don't want to do that against Cooper Flag and what they got offensively. They can score as well. And if Tyrese Proctor is playing at his level right now, it could be a game changer.
Well, so we took it down to the Final Four. I got 3 SEC teams. I got Kentucky losing out, Houston getting in. It would be fantastic to see Kentucky in there and have all 4 SEC's schools in there. It would be fantastic. I just hope we beat Tennessee and knock their ass out. That's all I got to say. But, all right, John, coaching changes. You just announced that they're saying Miller to Xavier. I was going to talk about I had heard Miller to Villanova, or not Miller, Patino to Xavier. I was going to talk about I had heard he was going to go to Villanova, but you said Xavier now, which is another Big East school, which means you're going to have 2 Patinos in the Big East, which is really entertaining to think about, to be honest with you. But Sean Miller at Texas, Josh Pastner, that should say Pastner, not partner.
At UNLV,
Pastner.
You got Will Wade at NC State and Ben McCollum at Iowa. And then there's more coaches going to be rumored to go here and there. There's been pickup of maybe Porter Moser going to Villanova now from different people. Listen, everybody talks about the players tampering and the players, going from place to place. But I don't want to hear a word now that the coaches are doing it.
I mean, listen, this stuff is crazy that's going on. I mean, within 24 hours, Will Wade is on a plane to NC State. Miller's on a plane. I mean, I heard before, and same thing with NC State. I mean, and Wade, I heard before Xavier played the other night that Miller was going to be the coach at Texas. They hadn't even fired Terry yet. I mean,
it's a free for all. It's a like you said, it's the Wild Wild West. There's no restrictions. There's nothing in place to change anything. They're going to have to do something about it, especially with the portal. And now with coaches doing – I mean, you're probably looking at coaches tampering during the whole season at this point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
between their agents and whatnot. And now
absolutely.
you've got
the craziness
Cadeau,
starts. I guarantee you the craziness starts after the 1st of January. Went on bet.
Guarantee it.
I guarantee it.
Then you got UNC's Cadeau entering the portal now. You got Magoon Guath from San Diego State going into the portal. There's some big names.
You can't name them all. There's hundreds of them, but Cadeau from UNC being in there is a big name. And it's also big for UNC. Another Jaden, whatever's name, Washington.
Jalen Washington, yeah.
Yeah. Put his name in out of UNC. Those are two huge losses for Hubert Davis at UNC.
Yeah. More so Cadeau than it would be Washington. Washington played a part, but he was not one of their better players. But
I'm just saying, man, listen, they pride themselves on a family out there. That's the reason why Hubert Davis has that job.
Well, and then you got RJ Davis moving on. You got Cadeau moving.
And Wilson, Caleb Wilson, part of the reason why he signed with or committed, I'm not sure if he signed yet, but committed to North Carolina is because he wanted to play with Cadeau.
Yeah.
And now he puts his name in the portal.
Well, and now they got these do not contact tags where they probably know where they're going.
So a whole lot of that, people have this image that they just automatically know where they're going. The reason why these players put the do not contact on there is it means that schools and people cannot blow them up personally. They're like as the player, their phone, they can't be contacted. However, their agents, who everybody has now because of all this stuff, can take all the phone calls for them. It just means that they can't contact them personally. That's all it means.
Yeah. Wild Wild West is what I put it as.
So about an hour before we started this show, the men's portal, which opened yesterday, had over 1,000 players in the portal already. Over 1,000.
It's untelling how many more are added beyond tonight and next week.
Yeah, there's still like 40 teams playing.
Well,
and the NIT, the college basketball crown, and the Sweet 16, there's still over 40 teams playing.
And then you had a Michigan player transferring when he's still in the tournament.
Yeah.
And then you had the Ole Miss guy.
Yeah.
Like it's out. I don't know.
All right. I got to say something about Dan Hurley, man. The Bobby Knight behavior got him fired in the 90s, okay? And I'm just going to be flat out. Bobby Knight won 3 titles. I don't care, and nobody else is going to care that you won 2 titles. I'm gonna flat out say this is a new age, a new time. You cannot threaten officials. You cannot threaten media. The stuff that's going on out of Dan Hurley and UConn is going to get his ass fired.
Well, and then you had the
thing of it is, John, more than that, in this day and age, there's going to be legal ramifications for it. You can't threaten people. They're going to take you to court.
Well, and then you had the Hurley, where a staffer apparently made a threat to one of the media members and said that he was going to ruin his life.
That's what I'm saying. You can't threaten people. That's what I'm saying.
And I just think I think that's just too far, really, to be honest. But
I said the Bobby Knight behavior got him ran out of Indiana, and he was 800 wins there, 300, 3 titles, got him run out of Indiana 25 years ago.
That was fake, Stephen. He said, you think he'll get suspended? That was a fake account that posted that about being suspended for 4 games. That was a bunch of people was just trying to run with something. And
that's but I'm
still,
telling you, Dan Hurley, the Bobby Knight behavior's got to go, man. If you don't do it, there's going to be legal ramifications. You may go to jail for threatening, to be quite, even a referee. And if you don't get a little bit of self-control, you will be fired.
Well, and then another thing is these fans go on the internet and they get in these players' DMs and they say they're going to kill them, for them to kill themselves and all this stuff. Social media is so toxic, Brad.
It is 100%.
It's out of control. From coaches to players, there's no.
I'm not sure what's going to happen with him. Here's what I know: threatening this media guy, and it was a staffer that done it. It wasn't Hurley that directly went and done it, but there are witnesses. Wait a second. There are witnesses. You take this to court with witnesses, it's not going to be pretty. This is a different day and age. And if they can prove that Hurley put them up to it, like, this behavior has got to stop. You've got to manage a little bit of self-control, Dan Hurley. Plain and simple.
Well, and then, they're going after the referees, saying that he's the best coach in the country.
He was threatening referees too earlier this year.
Like, you got to stop the nonsense, man. Like, it's from that to griping to screaming at Baylor. He was screaming at the Baylor players on Sunday, telling them to hope you don't get effed like we did. And then gets on an interview and then starts.
Guess what, Dan Hurley? Every single team that's ever played basketball thinks they got screwed. I mean, there's not a single team anywhere that doesn't think the same shit. I hate to tell you that, but that's the truth.
It's the truth.
All right, Home Field Apparel, go check them out. SportsCast for 15% off. We're on the Real Fresh channel, and we're part of Stadium Rant and WSBN TV channel 30. So you can find us on your Roku through the BoxCast app. And then check us out, College SportsCast, on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Our X accounts have been on the screen all night long. Plus, go to the Real Fresh channel and Stadium Rant. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff for all of those accounts that you see
and
right
just
there.
now I got a on Stadium Rant. I have a Kentucky-Tennessee article coming out tomorrow for the Sweet 16. So be on the lookout for it as well. Yeah, a preview article. So.
Yep.
Friday night seems slow. Like, this seems like a slow week, man.
So we will not be on Friday night. We did our picks tonight. We're going to get through this week and watch the games. Hopefully we're playing Friday and Sunday. We'll see. But we're going to get through this weekend and watch the games, enjoy the games.
Let's hope we get on the Big Blue Hoops Cast Monday with Kentucky going to the Final Four.
Final Four. Wouldn't that be something? So, and then Monday, we're going to do the Big Blue Hoops Cast. We'll hopefully have something positive to talk about. At least one win over Tennessee would be fantastic. 2 in the Final Four would be magnificent. I mean, it would be just amazing, to be quite honest with you. Yeah. And then next week, we'll do a big fuss and probably a game day pick 'em.
I was going to remind people that we will be taking a break here pretty soon. I don't know when. but it probably later in
Well, we're going to get through
May.
the NFL draft.
Yeah, I said, there'll be a time where we're going to take probably a 2-week. I'm going to take a 2-week hiatus. Sometimes you just need a break, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on writing a little bit. And
all right, Steven Decker, before we go, you asked matchups. Do you think the matchups are better in the men's games or the women's games?
Both of them are great.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think some of those women's games, you got those 3-2 games with LSU, NC State, Oklahoma, UConn, Notre Dame, and TCU. I think those 2-3 matchups on the women's side are fantastic and really could go either way. I love the 3-2 games on the women's side. I think they are fantastic matchups. I don't know. I mean, there's some good matchups here in the men's game as well, so I'm not going to say, but if you're asking me to pick one right now, I'm going to pick those 3-2 matchups on the women's side. I think they're pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, so that's going to wrap it up. We appreciate you guys. Go to Facebook and subscribe or send us stars to help support us. I didn't start the show out with that.
You know who I haven't seen lately is Joshua Hart.
Josh texted me, and he said he has to get up at 3:30 in the morning, so he was going to go to bed. He's working early, has to drive, so he said he was going to watch it later. But no, he hasn't been on lately much.
Mm-mm.
All right, guys. Hope you have a good night. We will see you next week. This has been College SportsCast.
Congrats to Jason Harrison. Congrats to Jason Harrison, by the way, for Ole Miss getting to even though he didn't get to join us tonight, he was having technical difficulties. But congrats, Jason, on seeing your beloved alma mater make it to the Sweet 16.
It's been 23 years since they made it when he played.
Yep.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. Good night.